This is not going the way I planned. How often have all of us said that to ourselves when life throws us a massive curveball? Not just any curveball, the kind that knocks you off your feet and leaves you wondering, now what? And this can come in so many different flavors, right? It could be the job that slipped through your fingers after months of trying, a relationship that ended before it really began, your candidate not winning the election, right? So we all go through this kind of disappointment. But here's the truth: what you do next, that moment after life floors you, can change everything. It can transform the trajectory of your life and also launch your growth in a way that nothing else can. I'm Dr. Lisa Marie Bobby, and this is the Love, Happiness, and Success podcast. Today, we are diving into art of how to deal with disappointment, how to pick yourself up. Idea number one: when you are experiencing a massive disappointment, it is crucial that you let yourself feel it. All of it. And this is probably the most important thing, because whatever you're feeling, you have got to give yourself permission to go all the way in. And disappointment brings so many layers of dark emotion, right? And really, it is grief. Because whenever we experience a disappointment, we have lost something. Our alternate future path was destroyed, essentially. And we have to grieve that and acknowledge it. And grief is not linear. There is no right way to feel it. Give yourself permission to not be okay for a little while. You can do this on your own, journaling, talking with somebody you trust, and your mantra is, it is okay to not be okay. Those are words to live by, and you have lots of options. Trust what you need and give yourself permission. The second idea for you, in addition to feeling things, a second idea, this is hard, but so worthy, is to figure out how to turn this loss into a lesson. And it's so hard to hear in the moment, especially when you're having those big feelings, but you gotta trust me on this. Our greatest disappointments can be our life's greatest teachers. This helps us pause, reflect, take stock, realign. So grab that journal again and start asking yourself questions like, what is this experience teaching me about myself, about what I care about, right? Like maybe you are connecting with a deeply held core value that until you experienced this loss wasn't a fully formed idea in your brain. Going forward, sometimes when we are deprived of the outcomes that we think we really want in the moment, in time, we can look back and realize that if we had that ideal situation create itself in our lives, we would not have had the growth experiences that we did, or the opportunities that we had, or the life experiences that unfolded after that. And that has happened to me personally so many times when, something happened that absolutely crushed and devastated me. And I was like, this is the worst thing ever. And then 3 years later, you're like, thank goodness that thing didn't happen that I really wanted to have happen, because if it had, all these other things that I'm really grateful for would not have transpired. And so there's perspective, there's distance. And sometimes when we're really in the moment of grief and disappointment, we don't know the full story. And it's important to hang on to that important thing. Every setback has an escape hatch. And the label on that hatch is marked growth, but you have to look for it. Sometimes growth happens in the form of new motivation. I need to take action in a different way because I do not ever want to experience this again. Sometimes, again, it's a new appreciation of your own resilience, but many times there are new opportunities that open up for you that wouldn't have happened otherwise. Again, give yourself space, right? Be sad, be mad, spend time in the feelings, but not to the degree that you can't eventually even be receptive to this. What does this make possible? Because there is so much magic here. What needs to change about the story I am telling myself, the meaning that I am making in this situation, and how do I get a handle on my inner landscape in a different way? Going through disappointments gives you the opportunity to understand your own machinery in a very overt way and gives you the opportunity to do something different. And here's a truth that I've learned through my own experiences, right? The hardest moments of our lives are the ones that shape us into the people we were meant to become. This is your life experience. It is the act of figuring out how to go over this boulder, around the boulder, blow up the boulder, whatever it is. This is the transformational process that is part of your life story. Managing your internal experience differently. That is oftentimes the most valuable and important step that we can take. So again, be gentle with yourself. Rest if you need to. Grieve, right? But do not for 1 second let yourself believe that this is the end of your story, because it isn't. You cannot let this control you, and acting on these emotions in the heat of the moment will only create more chaos. It will keep you stuck in a cycle of blame and of sadness, and you also have this fantastic opportunity of what did this disappointment teach me about my values, about what I care about, the kind of person I am, about the kind of person that I want to live in, and channel all this energy into something constructive. So what is now possible? What is a new dream for my future? What is the reality that I would like to live in? And who do I need to be in order to create this reality in productive, constructive ways that change the world for the better instead of the worse? This is a personal story. I think for a long time I was not ready to talk about it because it was like too personal, and I had a lot of big feelings about this, right? But so long story short, my husband and I had our love child and wanted very much to have another child, and tried for years to do that, and it did not work out the way that we wanted it to. I will tell you that I have had multiple miscarriages. We tried to get help and do treatments, and there is a special kind of disappointment that maybe some of you can relate to when you have paid a lot of money for IVF or fertility treatments, and you have so much hope and have gone through so much even physical hardship to try to make that happen, and it doesn't work out. And so there we were, sitting with this reality around the fact that everything that we had tried did not work, and that it probably was not going to happen. And, you know, I had all the feelings. I had despair, I had sadness, I had anguish. I feel like I was losing this dream for my life, right? I was angry, filled with regret. I could have rewound that clock, you know. So all of the things. And it was really difficult to be happy in the present moment for a little while, which is not actually who I am or who I want to be. And I'd used these same techniques I'm teaching you on myself, you know, okay, what does this make possible? There's this huge obstacle in my path, and what do I have to work with? And through a lot of soul searching and reflection, my husband and I decided to become foster parents. This was not the path I had originally imagined, but it is what we did. And this life experience was incredibly eye-opening. It was meaningful. It was joyful. It was challenging. But I can honestly say it changed the trajectory of my life for the better. I am a different person than I would have been. And my husband too, had we not done that. And wasn't what I wanted, but it was what I had. And so much growth came out of it. And again, this is just one small example, but I will tell you, I have had of varying degrees of dramaticness these life experiences over and over again. And always when one door closes, another is just opening for you, but it's waiting for you to notice it and appreciate it and walk through and see the value and the beauty that you would not have had otherwise. So in closing, just to wrap things up, and I want to provide you with some more free resources. If you are going through something hard right now, as I know that many of you are, I hope that today's episode has given you just a little bit of hope, maybe a new way to think about disappointment. And remember, it is good and necessary to be in those dark emotions. Allow yourself to grieve. Do the work of grieving, which is feeling the feels, but don't stay there. Look for the lessons, keep challenging yourself to grow and move forward, and know that there is still this beautiful story unfolding for you. It is currently on the other side of the boulder, and that your growth process is growing through the experience of grappling with this boulder in a reality-based way. So, free resources to help you on this journey. So many things for you. If you go to the personal growth section of my blog and podcast at growingself.com, you can find all kinds of podcast episodes, articles that I've written for you on the subject of what do I do if I'm not okay, emotional regulation, how to manage your thoughts differently. I would also encourage you to take my What's Holding You Back quiz that I have developed that will give you visibility into different areas of growth for you. So for example, for some people, it might be changing your thoughts is the most important thing that you can do to help yourself feel better. For others, it is emotional regulation, or the ability to have more access to your emotions is where the work really is. And for others, the work is around taking positive action that is in alignment with your values. It could be practicing self-care when you're going through something hard, but also the very important and powerful opportunities for growth related to life design. So I am not having a good time in this experience of this disappointment. So what is this teaching me about what I really want to create in my future? And how am I going to do that? That is life design, and then action planning that moves you forward. So you'll get visibility into all of those different things from this assessment. Go to my website, growingself.com. You will see the free resources tab right at the very top, and then you'll see the What's Holding Me Back quiz. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful for you. We are going to be talking about how to cope with disappointment on this week's discussion group, aka my weekly live stream this Thursday at 12 p.m. Mountain, 2 p.m. Eastern. You can ask your questions anonymously in advance if you'd like to, growingself.com/dear-Lisa, or just jump in with me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. I'll be here with you to talk about how you're going to deal with disappointment and hold the space, and hopefully share some perspective that will help you feel the feels and also continue to move forward. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. All right, everybody, take care.